Hey guys, welcome back to the RC Movement podcast. I'm your Bangkok-based performance coach and podcast host, Rich Cohen, and these are performance hacks for your life, your fitness, and your business. When would now be a great time to make the change that you need to make to see the difference in your life? Let's go, guys. Episode 12 coming up. This is episode 12, an incredibly insightful interview with David Cramond. Accept yourself and grow. Lessons in practically leveraging your greatness. This is going to be a big one, guys. Are you ready? If you are, let's do this. We're going to open up the show right into the middle of myself and Dave having a conversation. This is going to be a 2-hour interview. We were sitting in my home. We're in the lounge room. My fiance was on the couch. She was listening in as well. And we just popped open a bottle of red wine and we just got chatting. So this is a very easy, off the cuff, flowing interview where David has generously shared a lot of his trials and tribulations on becoming who he is today. And now David is a very, very humble he's a very, very successful man. He's been in, I'm going to tell you a little bit about him in a moment, but what draws me to David is that he is just very, very accomplished. He's very, very humble, and he's not online. He doesn't need to prove. He's not constantly trying to prove how good he is, because he already knows the value that he brings. He already knows who he is, and he's very, very comfortable with that. And that strikes me, that's quite authentic these days. And I think it's very special. And you know when you've been in the presence of somebody who's very, very great, because you're always learning something. And the first time I met Dave was 2016 on the NLP Practitioner Program. He was one of the facilitators on the course, and he and I just clicked straight away. The man's sheer presence, not just in actual physical signs, in his personality, charisma, and energy output is just outstanding. When you've been in the fitness industry for as long as I have, you kind of default to reading people's physiology, reading people's posture. And when I first saw Dave, first thing I said to him was like, dude, what do you bench? He's just a mountain of a man. And what struck me as really interesting at that point is that actually I'm doing Ironmans. And I was like, wow, that is really, really interesting. And the reason why I find that so interesting is because obviously his build isn't real prototype Ironman endurance sport athlete, much like myself when I did it. So we had a lot of things in common to talk about. So without further ado, we're going to launch straight into the start of this podcast. You're going to catch Dave and I chatting right in the midst of the first bottle of wine. Enjoy the podcast, guys. It's a really, really special show. Have a great one, and let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to citizen of Southeast Asia and resident in Bangkok for the past 18 years. A full-time triathlon age grouper, an endurance sports enthusiast, personal development and iron mindset specialist, sales mentor and process disruptor, co-founder of Asia's security tokenized hybrid fund. He is also 1996 to 97 South London salsa dancing champion runner-up, a painter, sculptor, and general bon vivant, mad, bad, and dangerous to know. Here is David Cramond. David, welcome to the show.
Hey Rich, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on, man.
Awesome, man. I cannot wait to get into the meat of things. Been waiting to get you on the show for ages. Let's get it going. One without the other.
Yeah, well...
Balance, I think they call it these days.
Exactly, yeah. But nothing succeeds like excess. But then again, I mean, and that's what I've learned. I've learned that I have been an extremist in the past. I think that's what, in a way, that's led to me being successful now. So I can't reject it. You know, you've got to accept who you are, and then leverage that to be the best version of yourself. So I am an extremist. I'm either extremely one way or the other. And that shined through in my past, where I would basically take partying and drinking, and staying up late and staying up for a few days to the extreme. But then you learn to manage the animal, cage the dragon, control the beast, right? So that then it works for you, and that's what I guess that's transferred now into my love and my passion for the endurance. Being able to go that extra distance, being able to challenge my mind. And I think it's true for a lot of extremists you find that are in triathlon right now. I did a little bit of research, and there's a lot of people who are in recovery. There are a lot of people who've led very extreme lives in the past who now seek solace in endurance sports because that's the nature of who they are. It's fascinating. It is. It's very, very fascinating.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up, and people in recovery going into things like endurance sports, especially triathlon. I know that when my ex-wife, we broke up, maybe like 7, 8, 9 years ago. It was a long time ago, back in 2005, 2006. It was almost something that I wanted to throw myself into. It was such an amazing distraction from the stress and the failure of that particular time in my life. Going into something like, I remember quite vividly going into endurance sports and getting out my bike and just free my mind, or getting into the pool and doing laps in the pool. Like I think the clarity that gives you, and also it's a positive way of channeling like that feeling of me. I mean, there was other ways that I was handling it as well. Like,
I'm sure they were positive.
There's a not so way of health. There's not so healthy way of handling situations, and there's a healthy way of handling situations.
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers, by the way. Yeah.
Excellent. Congratulations on the birth of your boy Lincoln.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Outstanding result.
Thank you. Yeah, he's terrific, and luckily he looks a lot like his mum. So he's got a good future. He's got a good future ahead of him.
So he got the looks then.
He got the looks, yeah. He got the looks, and luckily he's got her hairstyle as well.
The mohawk.
The mohawk, yeah, the mohawk. No, and yeah, I just remember like this. And do you have that as well with the endurance sports? Do you have that kind of sense of?
I feel
release.
I'm absolutely resonating on the same frequency. I find that you spend 3,000 meters in a pool is an amazing meditation.
Yeah.
So people find peace in their own inevitable way. Some people sit in a room and meditate for it. Other people do yoga for it. I'm extremely happy when all I have to do is focus on my breath in a swimming pool, because the same thing happens. I think when you're in a flotation tank as well. That first 15 minutes is just noise, and your brain is just going da 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 da. It's bringing out every emotion from the past. And he goes, "Yeah, and why did you do that, you stupid fuck? And what about this from the past? And then there comes a point where it just switches off, and all you're left with is your breath and your breathing, or you're counting strokes, and it just brings about a certain level of clarity and peace to the mind. And sometimes it's difficult and sometimes it's easier, but it really does just break through the bullshit, And I find that when I'm on a race, if I'm doing a 70.3, there'll be a point on the race where I cry as well, where I just basically, I think it's just me accepting myself, it's generally towards the end of what I'm doing, but it's that peace, and that people, you've been at that, you've been to see Tony Robbins, right?
Oh yeah.
Many people have, and I think Tony says it himself. He said basically, at these events, two things are going to happen: you're either going to laugh or you're going to cry, and both are an indication that you are releasing the negative energy that's basically being built up in your body. So yeah, I mean, these meditative practices are highly valuable. I think everyone should spend a bit of time each day to switch off the fucking phone,
Yeah.
And I see people. I spent the afternoon yesterday on the BTS,
Yeah.
and everyone is buried in the screen. All right, it's like 1984, right? You're just basically just looking into the telescreen, and Big Brother is watching back at you.
Right.
I was shocked because usually that's me.
Yeah.
As well, I'll check my emails, catch up on my SMSs, make sure people are liking my Facebook. Is my Instagram picture relevant, and are enough people giving me the social validation that I require to make me feel good about myself? Because I'm so insecure about all the shit I do. And I decided, you know what, social experiment, take a step back, and just put the phone in the pocket, and it took me 2 stops before I started nervously reaching for my pocket. And that's when I realized that's become a problem. Why do you need to do that? What are we searching for? Why are we looking for these distractions? Why can't we enjoy the moment right now and just be at that level of peace and enjoy that moment and have that moment and be happy about it as well, for sure.
And so I mean, you're tuned in to yourself. You're tuned into that to be able to stop and notice that particular point. What is it? Why is it that other people can't do the same? So everyone that's on the train that's looking on their face, how come they're not stopping and stepping back and looking at the?
Because we all enjoy instant gratification. We all enjoy feeling, because we link our happiness to something rather than linking it to ourselves. And because of frequencies of phones, there is a lot of story. Actually, I watched a documentary when I was flying back to the UK last year from Bangkok to London, and it's fascinating how talented the people who program for Facebook are, or who create clickbait on the internet are. Everything is designed to engage you. So in actual fact, people are just acting the way they would usually act because somebody understands their psychology and has locked into that. And like Pavlovian dogs, we just go, oh, well, this is my nature. I'll just scroll. And we become a citizen strollers. We're just there consuming.
Yeah, we're hooked into the matrix.
We're hooked in.
Yeah.
It's basically, we are allowing ourselves to be programmed, and also things, we are being used and we are users.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So I mean, who's wrong?
It's amazing, isn't it? And we're all. Would you say we're all kind of walking around at the mercy of being hypnotized at any particular point by advertisements, by social media, by government, by people, politics?
Our natural state is to remain in trance because it's comfortable, because it's easy. You on a daily basis. Do you remember the journey from your house to work? No.
Autopilot.
It's autopilot. It's pre-programmed in. That's why people become disillusioned with life. It's because they're not doing enough new things. They're not opening up enough new neurology in their mindset. They're not myelinating enough of their neurons to create new experiences. And that's where, when you embark on new challenges, on new projects, that's where, you find yourself being fulfilled. The start of a new relationship, why are you more enamored with the person than you are 20 years on? Okay, so I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who have amazing relationships, but there are a lot of people who don't, purely because they've stopped having new experiences with that person.
Right.
In the beginning, it's new, it's lovely, it's dynamic, it's fresh. in the end, it's the same. We always do the same thing. Well, who's responsible for that?
You're right. And who is responsible for it?
No, I am. Yeah, well, not for your relationship.
Me. You hear that, everybody? Dave is responsible for all of your relationships.
Happy to take the blame for everyone's relationship. If you're looking for a scapegoat, it's right here.
No, it's true. It's true. It's true. We all are, aren't we? We're all responsible. And you see it all the time, don't you? See the good start of a lot of relationships, and even not just romantic relationships, like in work relationships or career relationships. Like everybody's trying to impress at first, and then at some point, that stops happening.
It's that honeymoon period, right?
Yeah. You know. And taking the initiative or being aware enough to do something new, or to create something else, or to be proactive in taking your partner out, or going somewhere new, or just exploring. And does that come down to comfort zone? Is that like do people love being comfortable?
I think it's interesting. So I think when people first meet, they turn up as the businessman.
Yeah.
All right. They turn up as the version of the person they wish they were. You know, it's like if everything's an interview, right? But in actual fact, what you should do is just turn up like the dock worker you are, you know, and lay it all out.
Completely vulnerable. Yeah, come naked.
You've got to be real. You can't. You've got to honor the truth. You can't fuck with the truth, basically. So, and that means being true to yourself as well.
Yeah.
Being authentic. Nobody wants the version of the world, a version of you who you think they want you to be.
Right.
Right? They just want the most authentic version of you. Yeah. They want the real version of you. They want the warts and all, bruises, effing and blinding, likes a drink, can go out, have a laugh, might be a little bit politically incorrect here and there because we all fucking are, all right? And is just honest about who they are. That's it. That's all it is. But we turn up with the suit and the tie and we go, I can change your life. Yeah. You know? But we're all, and the thing is though, we're all kind of looking for that as well. Whilst we all know what we really, really want, we also want that better thing as well. Yeah. So is it laziness? I don't know. I think it's conditioning. I think it's social conditioning. You know, I think we're taught to desire things as well. We like the shiny as well. But again, after a while, there's a tarnish on the shiny. So really, just being who you are. You know, again, be fun, be happy, and don't never put the key to your happiness in somebody else's pocket. You got to own your happiness. Yeah. All right, which means, in a way, you've also got to be selfish too, because for me, my happiness comes first. All right. Yeah. You know, it's about if I'm happy, then the other people around me, okay, I'm sure will be happy too.
I love that. I absolutely love that. It reminds me of when I hear you saying that it all starts with self. If we're happy first, then that can radiate to others. And it reminds me of and others can, and we can help others become happy too. And it reminds me of the gas mask, when you're in the airplane and the mask comes down.
Oh, yeah, the oxygen mask.
The oxygen mask comes down, and if somebody else is, it says help yourself. Even if there's children on board, help yourself first.
Get out of the way.
Get out of the way. I'm having that. There's only one on board.
Only one parachute. It's mine.
Paper rock says I've already got it. He says out the window. When you've got that, you help yourself first with the mask, and then so if you can help yourself, you're in a better position to help others. Whereas so many times you see, and I see it on a daily basis. You probably see it on a daily basis, where you see, ask people about what's their goal, or what are they trying to do. Well, I want they always talk about what they want for other people. They always talk about, I want this many followers on my Instagram account, and I want to make my family happy. I want to make my son happy. Or I want to, whatever it is. I want to grow this company. But what about self? What do you want for yourself? I don't know. Do people have a clear idea? I mean, do you think people have are we so ingrained or conditioned to try to make other people happy rather than ourselves, or do we think it's like a taboo to help ourselves first and
I think
others?
I think you touch on it, because people think, oh, if I say I want myself to be good first, that will make me sound selfish, and I've been told being selfish is bad.
Right. And
you can't help anyone else until you've solved your own shit. I mean, I learned that. And especially when you're in bad times, you kind of seek solace in helping other people. Takes your mind off how sad and depressed you are.
Right.
Because it means you're fulfilling one of your human needs.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm contributing to somebody else, that makes me feel good. Therefore, I can forget about my problems. Rather than going, shit, you know what I need to do? I need to go and address my shit, get everything properly aligned, properly sorted out, and I'm going to help these other people. Everyone's conditioned to give to charity. And it's that adage of charity begins at home. Well, that charity at home is you, okay, and your happiness. Once that happiness element is full, or once the happiness bucket has been full, then you can go and pour out some of that happiness to other people. Take the bucket home, refill it.
Yeah.
Rather than going out with an empty bucket and handing out, okay, you're handing out help, sure. But how much are you helping? And how much are you really helping yourself? I think that's for me that was an eye opener, and I went through that myself. I think this is the key as well. It's like you only start to understand this after going through it yourself.
Yeah.
Is that you sometimes you have to hit rock bottom and lose everything to truly understand what it means to claw your way back up. And in doing that, there are some harsh realities as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got 3 hours on the bike tomorrow?
3 hours and 30 minutes.
Ooh, brick session?
No, it's just straight on the bike. 2 hours on Sunday into a 1 hour, 45-minute bike brick run.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big weekend.
Savagery. Oh, dude.
Savagery.
Training Peaks, man.
That's the app you're using at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So previously you were working with a coach?
Previously I was working with an Olympic coach.
Yeah.
So I worked with an Olympic coach who basically went to the Beijing Olympics and did triathlon. Yeah. Which is a great story too. And then I worked with Billy out of Lamai Fitness in Koh Samui. And most recently decided to get on to Training Peaks, to the evolution of the mindset and the game, and my commitment to the craft or the sport, shall we say? Well, it's my commitment to my identity as well. That's an interesting one. Yeah, my commitment to my identity, the identity change element, is a huge part of who I am now as well. Owning myself and owning my inner pig.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
your face. He's like, I was going to introduce you to my friend. I'm not going to do that now.
Just so all the listeners know, my fiance's listened over there on the settee, and as soon as Dave said "inner pig," she was like, "What?"
Pulling faces. I mean.
No, that's really interesting. Something I want to touch on. So, owning your new identity, and previously you just spoke about. Sometimes we have to break down to break through, and it's at those points, those pitfalls of our journeys that where we find resilience, where we can find resilience. sometimes, but not always.
Wow, yes.
Able to find resilience.
Sure.
What was it? You know, and so let's give a little bit of context to this. So I met so all I know is I met Dave back in 2016 on the NLP practitioner course.
Great course.
Very, very, very good course. Life changing for me, by the way. As I've mentioned to you before, and you did the course. When did you do the course?
I did the course originally in 2009, 2010.
Right, it's about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
now,
so about that 2010, 2011. So 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dave was one of the facilitators on the course that I went to in 2016, and just I was when I first met Dave, I was really just blown away by the man's just presence.
Is that a polite way of saying how fat I was?
Recently he joined the lab. This podcast is brought to you by the lab.
Great gym. Go there.
There you go. From the horse's mouth right here.
From the bicep itself.
Made in the lab. And just straight away you feel Dave's presence. You feel Dave's energy. You know he is there to really help you, to really see you break through, see you transform. And it was a very, very, very powerful week of training. And but I remember, I've been in the fitness industry for 15 years now. And just I don't think it's an unconscious thing in myself. When I see people, I check physiology straight away, and you look at the body type. And I remember seeing your body type. I was like, wow, this guy must be like powerlifting, like or he's played rugby or something. And then one of the first questions might have been like, so what do you bench? He was like, everything, all of them.
There's the beach. Yeah.
And it was then when I got to learn a little bit about your story on the course and how you got into sports and triathlon.
Yeah.
So which was incredibly powerful and moving story. Would you
yeah, sure.
Share a little bit
I'd be happy to. I mean, it goes back many years, and I think everything goes back to identity and who you truly believe you are, and what you believe you're capable of, and what you're worthy of as well. And I mean, as you know, I've been resident in Bangkok in Southeast Asia for the last 18 years, and it's not always been the easiest journey. Bangkok's a city which has no respect for you, and there are times where you believe that you have no respect for Bangkok as well, and those are the times where you that's your downfall. You fail. So, I mean, I came into this environment as an educator, and I think that first and foremost, that's always been who I am, is an educator, somebody who shares knowledge, and is there to help people learn and to grow, and to have a lot of fun as we do that as well. And of course, on my journey, that's what I did. I started off and I started teaching, and I started helping students to grow and develop their confidence in communication. And from that, I became very successful. I grew, and then I transitioned into sales. And as I transitioned into sales, I learned something new about myself as well. I learned that I was, I guess something I'd known for a long time, but never allowed myself to actually do. Was to be able to connect, persuade, and influence, to help people to make decisions to buy, to guide them through a process where they felt comfortable in signing off at the end, for me to deliver a program or a product, something that was going to give them fulfillment in their business, to grow their results. Maybe it was sales, maybe it was communication, whatever it was though. It would be delivered, and I prided myself on always delivering that, because I had a great team of people who were always at my side to do that. And I did that very young. So I came to Bangkok when I was 23 years old, all right, and I've been here 18 years ever since. So you do the math, right? And I still look fucking great, right?
Yeah. So 27, 28.
Yeah, exactly. Every year, baby. Every year. Yeah. Better and better.
Yeah.
I may get older, but they stay the same age. But so as a result of basically being very successful in sales at an early age, what comes with that is first and foremost a lot of financial freedom. Okay, so you have a lot of disposable income. So you're able to access things that you previously didn't have access to. And then from that also comes a level of self-confidence. But a level of self-confidence where you also become, well, to an extent, I'm not going to say not arrogant just yet, but there's a point where it happens where you fall off. And that point is where you believe you're indestructible.
Yeah.
Now that comes from being successful, okay, doing the right thing, turning up for work on time, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, making sure the proposals are out on time, fulfilling client requirements. Then you start to get complacent and you go out and you have a couple of drinks, all right? And you turn up for work the next day, you're a little bit bleary-eyed, but you know what? You can still get that work out. It hurts a little bit, but you can still do it. Then you go out for a couple more drinks, and then you end up coming home at about 5 o'clock in the morning. And fun enough, you know what? Because you've got the muscle memory of being successful, doing the job, because you're so familiar with it, you can kind of work on autopilot and get it done. And then there comes the point where you're going out, you go absolutely smashed, you get home in time for an hour's worth of sleep, you wake up, you do whatever it takes to get out of bed, which may have been why you got home so late the night before. You get to that appointment and you sign the deal. And when you do that, that's when you think you're indestructible.
Right.
And that's the point you fucking fail. Because after that, you can only spiral downhill. Because what you've done is you've reinforced that negative activity. You've reinforced the fact that, you know what, I'm so good, I can go out, I can get absolutely hammered, I can spend all night on the piss and on everything else. I can turn up for work the next day with zero sleep, and you guess what? I'm so good I can still sign these deals. Boom. Bang, you start to spiral downhill. And then what happens is you start to lose everything. But what doesn't change is your lifestyle. Because you're still convinced you're good at what you do. So you still keep going out. You still invest in negative practices. And sooner rather than later, everything you built up is gone. Your relationships fritter away with the people you thought were friends. Your loving relationships crack. They separate and dissolve. And invariably you're left alone. And that's when you realize you're at rock bottom, is when you're sat in your apartment by yourself, bawling your eyes out with a bottle in front of you and whatever else is in front of you, and you realize that's all I have. And at that point, you got two choices. You either end it, or you make a decision. Well, there's three choices. You either end it, you leave, okay, and as many people do, as many people leave this fair city, okay, because she is unrelenting. All right, you've got to have respect for Bangkok. Or you make a decision that you're going to turn things around. You hope and you pray that there's somebody out there who's going to support you, be with you. And truth be told, if you've gone through that, what you realize is nobody cares because it's your own fucking fault. So you got to suck it up. You got to suck it up, and you've got to basically start rebuilding. You've got to go back to basics. You got to go back to the basics of what you did originally to get to the position you were in before you fell off. And that's what I did. That's what I did. I was that guy that was uber successful, had abundant wealth, frittered everything away on wine, women, song, and everything else, to end up with, no friends, no family, moving out of my beautiful condo in Ceylon to move across the river to my fortress of solace. And I did that because what I was doing was I was putting a moat. It's interesting because I walked into your building today and I was like, shit, Rich has got a moat.
Right.
If he wants to, he can pull up the drawbridge.
Right.
And that's what I was doing.
Right.
It was basically I moved across the river to metaphorically put a moat between me and what had happened, so I could pull up the drawbridge and go back to basics and basically rebuild. And it's fucking hard, man, because you've got to basically take it on the chin, and you spend every moment in that first few months blaming everyone. You think these people, it was their fault. It was this person's fault. They did that. And you know, at the end of the day, you made the fucking decisions, dickhead. Wear it. Wear it. Take responsibility. Be authentic. Be just know. Because as soon as you do, as soon as you take responsibility, even if it was like some real wild shit that fucking went off, if you were in the building when that happened, it was your responsibility because you made the decision to fucking be there at that time.
Right.
So guess what? It's your fault. As soon as you can wear all of that, then you can start to rebuild. Then you can make the active decision to go and do it. And that's one of the reasons why I did that's why I got into self-development more. That's why I started listening. I mean, I was always from part of my success was built on my ability to multitask in the morning. So I would go to the gym in the morning, and I would basically I get on the treadmill, I get on the bike, I do an hour of steady state cardio, and on the bike I would put my headphones in, and I would listen to an hour of Brian Tracy, just talking sales.
Love Brian Tracy.
And the guy taught me sales. And you know what? There are many sales trainers out there right now. You got Grant Cardone, you got Jordan Belfort, you got all these dudes who are basically giving this very similar advice. But I look to the Godfather,
Yeah, right.
The dulcet tones of Brian Tracy, the guy whose voice is like butter, and just his relaxing tonality seemed to cut through in such a way where I was able to just start reapplying. So I went through my audio collection and pulled out all of the tapes and all of the MP3s that I had used 5 years previously, 6 years previously, when I had started in sales, when I embarked in my sales career. And as a result of that, kind of started to reconnect the neurology. All right, it was like that. It was like a Rocky montage.
Yeah, right. You go back to, you put the grey sweats on, chase the chicken.
And you catch that car.
You get speed. You catch that car.
It was that training in a barn montage.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Because at the time,
Yeah.
I'd blown everything out. I didn't have the money for fancy gyms.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And going back to basics, that is such a raw display of emotion and story that you've painted for everyone here. So I thank you for that first and foremost. And but you mentioned going back to basics and that escapism to get away. How important is it to have? Because I mean, there's a saying, is it no man's an island?
Apart from me, I'm Ibiza.
Check it. Apart from that, there's we all need help, and we all need encouragement, and we all need the right people around. Yeah. How important was it to have that? And I mean, is that something that you can? Yeah. When you're looking back, you can. When looking back at it, you can put some of that. You can identify with that, or having the right sort of people around in your corner, or was it something else that enabled you to take that next step forward?
For sure. One of the key elements that I learned when I spiraled out of control was that obviously, mindset's a huge thing, and mental health is a massive element as well. And asking for help isn't something that I was very familiar with at the time. So I didn't have money for rehab. I didn't have money for putting myself into a facility that would help me and give me structure. I was by myself, and I was by myself because I didn't trust anyone. I didn't know how to reach out. I didn't want to reach out because I was burnt. I was emotionally hurt. I didn't know how to deal with my anger, with my sadness, with my fear, with my guilt. I didn't know how to compartmentalize those emotions. I didn't know how to get over what had happened. So I had to go through that, first of all, with me. And that's how I learnt to honor myself first. That's how I learnt to embrace me. That's how I learnt to spend time alone and to really enjoy my own company as well. Because it's I start seeing these memes on the internet, saying when you start to realize how compulsive or how enjoyable it is to spend time on your own and embrace that fact, you'll wonder why you ever spent time, why you ever wasted time chasing people. And you've got to learn to spend time by yourself. People are afraid to spend time by themselves. People don't know how to manage themselves without other people around them. And I learned how to do that, and I learned to enjoy it. I learned to go to the movies by myself. I learned how to go to a pub by myself. I learned how to go to a networking event and interact with people, and I learned how to not care what other people thought about me. I learned an authentic version of myself because I was just broken down to my core structure. I was vulnerable. And because I was vulnerable, that's why I didn't want to reach out, because as guys, what we're taught is, that it's weakness to reach out. It's weakness to ask for help. And that's fucking bullshit, man. Right. It's absolute bullshit. And that's what had held me back. It was, okay, sure, look, there's a time to be vulnerable and there's a time to have your guard up. For sure, we all know that, okay? You don't walk down the street in South London going, oh, God, I'm everyone's friend. No, because you can get a fucking slap, all right? Yeah. But there's a time where you need to have a network around you who you can reach out to, who you can say, you know what? Or no, a network who know you well enough that they see you drop off and they're like, something up? Tell us now what's going on. All right, what do you need? And you've got to be secure in yourself enough to go, you know what, thank you for asking me that. Things are a bit shit. Okay, I'm having trouble. And going through that myself helped me to understand that other guys are going through that as well.
Yeah.
And helped me to help other guys who have been going through that for many years as well. I've done it because I know what it's like. It's difficult. It's challenging. You know, there are dudes who go through, you know, divorce, who go through depression, who go through, you know, a multitude of different emotions that they don't know how to handle, and need an outlet. Okay, and it's through that decisive factor that's allowed me to develop as well. But going back to where I was, putting up those walls and putting up that moat, that lasted for a few years. You know, it doesn't, transformation, everyone thinks transformation happens like that.
Right, breakthrough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a seminar and transform my life.
Yeah.
No. What you're going to do is you're going to go to a seminar that's going to transform the way you think.
Right.
Then it's up to you to start implementing that thinking to a point where it becomes your identity. You can't do it on a convenient basis. Like, today I believe this, but tomorrow I believe that.
Right.
Doesn't work. There's nothing as incongruent as somebody who's flip-flopping through life. You embrace an ideology and you practice that ideology. And as you become congruent with it, and as you become an expert in it, you start to embrace more ways, more enhanced ways of thinking. And then you start to develop your own opinions again. And the way you start to develop, and you become comfortable with expressing those opinions, irrespective of what other people think. And you then become a more congruent character. And then you start to see more success. You start to reconnect with your inner self. The skill set that you had built in the past now again becomes second nature.
Right.
And from that, this is why I rebuilt the empire, shall we say. I rebuilt contracts, business relationships which had been frayed were repaired and recovered. And that sense of self was reignited again as well, as a result of that.
Right.
And I think that's, I don't know what it is, but for me, I'm very competitive. Very competitive. And I'm competitive with myself as well. And I wouldn't allow myself to be beaten. So me spiraling out of control was me being beaten. I was like, nah, fuck that. That's not who Dave Cramond is.
Right.
No, I'm a fucking geezer, mate. I'm a player. I'm in it. Fuck it. You know? I'm going to come back stronger.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I made a decision to come back stronger, come back healthier, fitter. But interestingly enough, that's also something which I struggled with as well, was fitness, was health. You know, constantly through my journey, I've been on this roller coaster ride of peaks and troughs. Yeah. Okay. So peaks and troughs of success, peaks and troughs of health, where my weight would accelerate up to a point where I went, shit, I need to get into the gym now and work out. Oh, okay, now I'm feeling better about myself. Burger, beer, beer, beer. Oh shit, I'm a fat bastard again.
Right.
Okay.
How did this happen?
Oh shit, It can't be me.
Like you said, transformations don't happen overnight.
But I put on weight like an absolute superstar.
Right.
You know? And then as you master your mind, you then realize that there are other elements to master. The foundation of everything everything we do is health. Because without health, I mean, you're a proponent of this. You know this.
Oh, absolutely.
You exercise this on a daily basis.
My number
This is who you are.
my number one value. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Health, man. Me too. Health. It's because without health, you don't have anything. You can't enjoy your success if you're not healthy.
You can't earn finances if you can't have a financially stable, sustainable life without health.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, I've been successful.
Yeah.
Okay, I've had lots of money and been very, very fat, but it's not been very rewarding for me. Okay, I've been able to buy whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
I had to, I had to upgrade from economy to business class because I was so big.
Right.
It's the decision to make health your foundation for success, which actually is the transformational point.
Right.
You know, from that, everything starts to blossom. For sure.
Awesome. Right, Dave, this is some really awesome information so far. And before we shift into the next step, which is going to be based on sort of health and our fitness and how that can play an important role on mental health, I just want to backtrack to that moment in time when you were going through this tough period of time in your life, and I asked you, how important was it to have a good supporting group of people, and it seemed in that particular instance it wasn't so much about being dependent on people. It was actually in that instance for you it was stepping back and being by yourself. How important is that for people to be able to step back and enjoy being by themselves and be okay with having that sense of no codependence and dependence on self only?
I think it's everything. I think what I learned about myself was that I've become very dependent on the validation of other people, and I'd inadvertently given up a lot or all of my power because I was so conscious of being validated by the group, because that was my identity. And my relationship at the time was my identity as well. And when you lose everything, you go back to basics and you learn that you have nothing. So what you need to learn to do is to love yourself again, so that at any point in time, you always have something. That's the key. The key is that you are always going to be responsible for your results. Come rain or shine. You are the success in your life. If you're constantly relying on other people to tell you that you're a good person, or to tell you that you're funny, or to tell you that you're good looking, or to tell you, whatever your ego needs, what are you going to do when those people aren't there? You're going to be fucked. What you need to do is learn to accept yourself. Learn to know yourself. You got to know. A lot of people don't know themselves. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they want. They've got a vague idea of the materialistic items they believe would make them happy in life. But they don't know what they want. They don't know who they are, and they don't know where they're going. And they latch on to other people because they believe those people are going to pull them in the right direction and get them to a certain point where they'll be happy. And that's what I was doing. I was a value taker, not a value maker.
I love that saying.
It resonates, right?
Yeah, it does. It really does.
You've got to learn to be a value maker first. And a value maker is somebody who fucking knows themselves, first of all. Because you can't create value if you've got an impoverished view of yourself. You're not going to contribute anything. You got to go grassroots. You got to know at the deepest level who the fuck you are and what you fucking stand for. Because a lot of people, me included at that time, stood for nothing. Stood for the party. Stood for the instant gratification. Stood for the empty vessel. But there was no substance. Okay, there was nothing to it. Behind the scenes was a flimsy, behind the facade was a flimsy supporting structure, which sucks, man. It does.
Yeah.
Really does suck.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You got to accept that. You got to accept that, you'll ask yourself the question, am I a value maker or am I a value taker? Am I contributing to the group? Or am I just there taking from it? Or am I just there, just to get what I can get?
Yeah.
Because I'm not capable of contributing anything. It's hard for people to admit that they're actually not capable of contributing fucking anything to a situation. And I had to eat that myself. So I did. So that's why. And before you can form a support group, or let's say a foundation of people who you admire, who you trust, who inspire you, and also equally look to you for inspiration.
Right.
That's the key, because there's this whole element of surround yourself with, you're the product of the 5 people you interact with the most.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But what you need to do is you need to surround yourself with people who will pull you up and, force you to work harder, which is true. And at the same time, you need to be worthy of them pulling you up and making you work harder. You need to be there adding value to the situation. Because if I come into the room and I say, I'm like, hey Rich, can you make me a better person? Here's my empty cup.
Yes, right.
I'm just taking value, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm here contributing to the ecosystem, contributing to the environment, it's easier to accept people and it's like, make me want to help you. Make me where I would be proud of you.
Yeah.
If you decided to take on the advice that I'm giving you.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than going, this fella turned up in my life, took a bit of value, and now he's doing really well over there.
Yeah.
All right, well done, fair play.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
So before you're able to build that foundation group, you need to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
You need to rebuild. You need to rebuild your career. At a point, I was at a point where I'd lost the ability to speak. I'd lost the ability to communicate, to interact. I'd lost the urge, the desire to do it as well. I had to go back. I had to learn how to reconnect. I had to learn how to network again. I had to learn how to add value to a conversation. And from doing that, I learned how to identify people who were energy vampires, who were sucking the air and the energy out of the room.
Yeah.
And I learned how to cut them off quickly and move on to the people who I wanted to be around. Because previously, I was a little bit of a social butterfly, because I didn't know who I wanted to be around.
Yeah.
So I had to, as I went back to rock bottom, rebuilding my structure, rebuilding myself, I learned who I wanted to be. And I learned about the people I wanted to be around. And I became more interested and fascinated with people. And I became fascinated with language and communication. And I became, I started to love using that language, in more exotic ways, if you like,
Right.
okay, to express myself. because I wanted to be around people who used language in the same way too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you from as I did that, then I found myself naturally being pulled towards the group of people that I wanted to spend time with.
Yeah, okay.
And as and birds of a feather flock together. So rapport is built when people who like each other like each other.
Yeah.
Simple.
Great saying.
You know?
Yeah.
We're naturally attracted to those people who we are like.
So we don't need to force it.
We're not exactly.
Force that mastermind or force that group of people that you need to hang around with. Be yourself, add value, and that will come to you.
Know what you want, and I'm going to go a bit woo-woo. Trust in the universe, man.
Yeah.
Because the universe will deliver.
And are you? And that reminds me of the law of attraction. Whatever whatever you're putting out there, you get back. And even Stephen Covey talks about it in 7 Habits. Is it 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? I think it is. Yeah. Is that something that you believe in as well? Is it like?
Hate the book. Okay. Love the concept.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't manage to get through the whole book. I think I got 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah, I mean the whole idea of manifestation, and I mean we are amazing machines. We resonate. You are a map of the stars. You have 10 times 10 to the 11 neurological connections in your body, which make up an exact map of the universe. We resonate on the same level. We all store images holographically in our bodies.
Yeah.
To say we are not connected is a fallacy. We are intrinsically connected.
Have to be, yeah.
There are so many things that happen on a daily basis, like today when we were sat in that restaurant, and I said, I'm going to, definitely I want to contribute to the charity, and then boom, immediately someone pops up and asks me for money for charity.
That was mental.
That's insane.
That was insane. That was literally insane. You literally finished the sentence, yeah, I want to contribute. And then straight away, that person came to the table with a sign asking for contribution. Ask and you shall receive. Literally. That was insane.
Absolutely.
That was insane.
Yeah. Many people will say, well, that's a coincidence.
Yeah, yeah.
But why is it we think of people and the phone rings?
Yeah.
We are intrinsically linked, and I believe that if you vibrate on a certain level and you put out the right energy, whatever you are looking for is looking for you.
Beautiful.
And you will encounter that, and that includes people as well.
Yeah. Dave, you mentioned something really, really important earlier, and I absolutely love what you're sharing here today. And you mentioned something about men and how it's not a very male thing to ask for help. And it's interesting because only a few weeks ago, especially in Australia, there was Mental Health Week. I think it was in the UK as well.
Yeah.
If I'm right. I think
Tyson Fury has made a lot of press about mental health recently as well.
Okay.
As he went through some challenges himself.
Right.
Johnny Wilkinson as well,
yeah,
the rugby player, has highlighted mental health and male mental health now for many years. I think after suffering through bouts of depression and mental malaise himself too. So yes.
Yeah, I didn't know about Johnny Wilkinson, and I'll be interested to find out more. The and similar thing. I was listening to, a couple of things. There was a soccer. There was a football. We call it football. There was a football round table. How dare you? God, that's what Bangkok. We've got to respect Bangkok and internationalism of Bangkok by using soccer. Here I am speaking to another UK. No, you bloke from the UK, geezer from the UK. Yeah, he's fucking geezer, isn't it? So a football round circle of men. I think Michael Owen was there and Rio Ferdinand, a couple of those players talking. Yeah. Just and Peter Crouch, we're just talking about mental health and how important it is for men to be able to speak about and be open about struggles and challenges that they're facing.
Yeah.
And even Tony Robbins' podcast with Michael Phelps.
Oh.
And this was really interesting. I think a really interesting topic about how athletes who are training for something like the Olympics, we train 4 years for like a tournament that's going to be over within like a couple of days or a week. Yeah. And Michael Phelps' fall from grace after 2012. He was very open, and it was a beautiful interview, very authentic, very open, talked about all the challenges that he faced, where he went wrong, and very humble the way that he expressed himself. And he talked about how there's no support for athletes like that, and coming down off like a high, performing at a very, very high level. And what happens next, that adrenaline dump after something massive or huge, even like closing a sale or opening your business, having that support network. And for guys out there who, we have a lot of male listeners on this show. I think predominantly I have a lot of male listeners on this show, and even for the female listeners, this could be really important. But what advice would you think you would give somebody who, let's say men? What advice would you give men? Because I want to keep this really specific as possible. And we touched on it earlier. What advice would you give men who are feeling stuck in a rut? They notice themselves it's a relationship issue. They notice some bad habits that they're portraying on a daily basis that's not serving them. They want to break through those. What advice would you give them to, look to be able to ask for help? And what advice would you say? It's okay to ask for help, or who could they go to? What should they say? Like who could they speak to? Like how would they be received? Asking for help.
Great, that's a fantastic question, Rich. On so many levels as well. Asking for help has always been stigmatized, right?
Yeah.
It's always been stigmatized as something that's weak, something that you should not do. And you know what? You shouldn't ask for help from everyone, because there are people who are not equipped to deal with that.
Yeah.
If you come up, if I walked into the lab and I went, started crying, Rich, my life's in tatters, help me out. Okay, I started saying that to one of your trainers. All right?
Fitness trainers.
Fitness trainer. Yeah.
About something about career or relationship or
my career.
Bench it away.
My wife left me. My career's in. I can't sell anything.
Yeah.
I'll just do 20 squats.
Yeah. You'll feel better.
Potentially, you will feel better. But
you actually would. Yeah.
Potentially. But the thing is, that's not what they're there for, as well.
Yeah.
So, first of all, in seeking advice is knowing that seeking advice is acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it's not weak, it's strong. In fact, asking for help is stronger than not asking for help.
Yeah.
That's the most important factor.
Yeah, it's brave.
Exactly.
That ability to be brave and vulnerable.
Being vulnerable is bravery.
Yeah.
Okay. Being able to share your thoughts with the right people is bravery. Okay. The key element here is the right people.
Right.
Who are the right people? Who's the right people for you? And it's people that you trust.
Okay.
All right. It might not be everyone, but it will be someone in your life who you can talk to. And it's as simple as saying, I'm going through a couple of challenges at the moment. I just need your advice on how I can handle it. Let me say, one of the biggest challenges, I've worked with salespeople for many, many years. And the biggest thing that holds salespeople back in opening new business, in approaching new clients, especially this is for new salespeople, is one fundamental thing, is they don't know what to say. They don't know how to start the conversation. They don't know how to lead from point A to point B to point C. And the reason why guys don't ask for help is because they don't know how to start the question. They don't know I don't know how to start the conversation. What do I say first? How do I I'm abusing booze. I'm taking too many drugs. What? Gee, well, hang on a minute. Whoa. Step back a minute. How to start again? Okay. It's the approach point. It's the Rich. You're a guy I respect. I'm just encountering a couple of challenges in my life right now. I think you may have been through this yourself, and I just want to run a couple of things by you, just to get your feedback.
Awesome, such a great example.
You know,
yeah.
It's knowing. Okay, how do I know how to do that? Because I went through it. And people who are going through it the first time are the ones who suffer the most, because they don't know. They don't know what do I say? How do I express myself?
How do I express myself?
How do I say these things?
Yeah.
And it's as simple as finding somebody who is willing to sit down with you.
Yeah.
And I'm conscious, V.
Yeah. We've got a little feast going on here. It's Friday night. We want to get Dave talking.
It's amazing. The Cohen household, there is nothing but abundance.
Yes. That's the way we like to live our lives.
Dionysus, the god of wine, would be would be very pleased. It's going back to what we were talking about. It's knowing what to say, knowing who to approach, and knowing the right time to do it as well.
Yeah.
These are the three key factors.
Yeah. So it's knowing what to say.
Knowing what to say, knowing who to approach,
right,
and knowing the right time to do it as well.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: when is the right time? Now. There is only now, you know.
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Just do it now, because there is only now.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, you can put it off, but guess what? You'll be encountering the same feelings, the same thoughts. So. It's amazing how quickly your perception of the problem changes when you start to verbalize it with somebody else.
Yes. And there's this tendency for guys anyway, and maybe this is ingrained with us in school, and I'm talking. Maybe I'm going to put a massive generalization on this.
Go for it.
Yeah, because
I don't care. Fuck it.
So at school, right? Let's talk about school. Like growing up in the UK, growing up in England, talking to other guys about having a problem. Like you said, it shows weakness. You mentioned it shows weakness. We're also scared of not just and even to ask questions. We're always scared about looking stupid or looking unintelligent or looking, or someone laughing at us, or someone taking the piss, or one of those sort of things. How much does that come into effect when it comes to and us taking that old belief that is what's going to happen with us, carrying that baggage from school or from uni or from wherever, or sports into the present, and having that baggage? How much is that stopping us? Because when you ask that question, if you ask that question to me, hey Rich, you've been through this, and to me, I'm grateful that you feel that you could share that with me personally on that basis. So as a receiver of that information, that's kind of how I would receive it. But why is it that we continue to take that old belief system into the future or into the present?
I would say, in my opinion, it's social conditioning. It's social. It's the reason why we've been programmed not to ask for help, because of the stigma that's attached to it. Because, like you said, nobody wants to look stupid. So we have this idea of, if I say, what we believe is, we believe everyone else lives this perfect life. Everyone else has this everyone else has this Instagram
That's
lifestyle.
right, man. Yeah.
Because guess
Here
what?
I am drinking champagne in the club with the bitches, and or I'm driving this car. So I just went off for one. I went off for one, but like
For the record, Kaylee's shaking her head. What up, dog?
I'm a
badass motherfucker.
Yeah, bottle and a half into this Barossa Valley stuff. It's really, really good. But like, I mean, like, but it is. It's totally like, no. Who takes photos of themselves cleaning their washing? Or who takes photos of themselves
picking up dog shit,
or washing up, or cleaning their house?
You've got a newborn baby. How many dirty nappy pictures have you taken?
I actually haven't taken any dirty nappy pictures, but that I'm going to go on I'm going to go on a. This has inspired me. This is why one of the reasons why I love doing these podcasts is having these conversations that open your mind to like what's real and what's not. Right?
There you go.
And I'm now gonna go on a Instagram or Facebook. I'm gonna go on a program. I'm gonna go on a. I'm gonna create a process where I'm just gonna take photos of mundane, everyday shit. That goes
Nice.
on. Let's
Real
see
life.
how many likes we get.
Real life.
Real
serious,
life.
No, serious
Real
life.
life. Yeah.
Hashtag real as fuck.
Yeah. Hashtag real as fuck.
No, but seriously, I mean, because everyone has this view that everyone else is living in a castle, on a deserted island with beautiful crystal clear water and bottles of champagne while somebody's feeding them grapes, whilst they're sat alone in their apartment drinking a bottle of wine, crying.
Yeah, scrolling through everyone else's.
And scrolling through everyone else's beautiful pictures. And that's the problem that we have. And so that's what prevents us from going, well, shit, their lives are great. Why is my life fucked?
Comparison.
We compare ourselves.
Comparison syndrome.
Absolutely. And well, rather than realizing that, in actual fact, everyone else is just as fucking insecure.
Yeah.
Because in actual fact, no one's thinking about you really. Everyone's just thinking about themselves.
Yeah. And I remember you said that to me. One of the lessons that you taught on the most recent course that we did was that particular point. Like we're all so concerned about what other people think, but everybody else is so concerned about themselves.
Yeah.
And there's a massive miscommunication there internally with ourselves. Yeah.
Huge.
So Dave.
So.
You are now doing a lot of endurance sports, triathlon, Ironman, and as I mentioned to the listeners out there who haven't met David before, David is you're not your prototypical. Could we call that prototypical
poster boy?
Poster boy for triathlon.
Yeah.
Yet when I heard his story, I was. About how he got into triathlon. Now, just to give some context, David's a very, very built guy. Solid.
That's very kind.
Yeah. Very naturally built guy. Like I mentioned before, like he looks like somebody who would be powerlifting, playing rugby. And did you play rugby?
I did play rugby.
When you were at sports.
Yeah.
And now you're in the gym. Actually, you're doing a lot of squat, bench press, and deadlifting, and these heavy lifting. That's working quite well for your body.
Working very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Choose the lab.
There's a lot of wine that's gone into this. Thanks for that unbiased support. And you've chosen to go down. You've taken this choice of endurance sports now, and I can relate to that because when I did triathlon, I complete the wrong shape for it. My shoulders are too big.
Right.
I'm carrying too much upper body weight. And it was going into triathlon was a big learning curve for me. I was not the prototypical size for a triathlete, and yet there was something quite amazing about what endurance sports does, not just for your body but also for the mind as well. Tell us a little bit how you got into because I mean there must be that in itself, like not having the right body type to do something like triathlon's got its own challenges. What is it that got you into it, and what keeps you going?
Wow, great question. So, I mean, I've always had the I guess the body type of a heavy goods vehicle.
But really good stuff.
But really great goods. Right?
Yeah, really great goods.
So I was always the biggest kid in class. You know, I've always been the tallest. I've always been the widest, and I guess that became my identity. You know, I played rugby. I played in the forwards, and you know, I started training when I was 11 years old. So I've been in the environment of fitness since from a young age, but never held it at a very high values level.
Yeah.
I've always valued things above it.
Like, for example.
Oh, like fun.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, like instant gratification.
Yeah.
You know, so I spent many years of my life not practicing self-care. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I've learned to do more effectively now. And it's as a result of getting into endurance sports and triathlon. So I think, as I explained to you earlier, and we chatted about it at length, is I've always been very, very competitive. And I've been very competitive with myself, competitive with other people. You know, I've always embraced the pain. I've always gone the extra yard. I've always, you know, been willing to put in that extra mile just so I could win, just so I could get the result, just so I would get the contract rather than the competition getting the contract. That's been my mentality for many years. So I guess I always valued the money over the health, or the result over the health. And in 2015, so that would be 4 years ago, let me take you back before then. So every year, towards the end of the year, around about Christmas time, a few years ago, my family would fly from London to Thailand, and we would go to Koh Samui, and we would spend about 3 weeks to a month on Koh Samui. And around about that time, I was getting into CrossFit, all right? And I thought, yeah, CrossFit, this will solve all my problems. I'll get really fit and buff like Rich Froning, you know?
CrossFit's a swear word on this show.
It is. We say it through gritted teeth. Yeah. CrossFit.
Great sport. It's helped a lot of people. Come on. Get the reframe on there. Helped a lot of physios.
Exactly. It's created a lot of business.
Yeah.
For chiropractors.
That's right.
Don't do it, it's shit. So I apologise to any CrossFitters out there who haven't realised that yet. Yep. Okay, so I was always on the lookout for a CrossFit gym, and I would go to Koh Samui every year. And one year I found a gym that was doing, I guess, functional training. And I sent a few emails. The guy didn't answer me. I just basically rocked up there, and he looked at me. I looked at him, and I was like, "Well, I'm here to train," without realizing that it was basically kind of like a retreat-style camp place, and they had people who would come in and sign up for a month to transform themselves. This, oaf had wandered in. The ogre had come in and knocked on the door. Train, CrossFit, good. All right. And again, he goes, pay the drop-in fee. And I started training. I guess he half expected me not to come back the next day, but I did. Well, over a period of a few years, I guess we got to know each other. So if I don't mind mentioning his name, is Billy out of Lamai Fitness in Koh Samui. And we've known each other for years, and he's a great friend of mine, great bud. And as a result of our relationship, he puts together these different challenges. And one year, in 2015, was the Great Wall of China marathon.
Wow.
And
Cool.
it was. Yeah, I thought myself, you know what? I've never been to China.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Great Wall of China. What would be a great opportunity to go and do that? Why don't you go and run the marathon?
Which has got lots of steps, I'm guessing, by the way.
Basically, the Great Wall of China does two things. It goes up, it goes down, but it never goes flat.
Was it and this is the first attempt at a marathon?
Well, this was my first attempt at a 10K.
Oh, shit.
Because at the time, I weighed in at approximately 175 kilos.
Wow.
I was a big boy.
Wow.
Very big boy. I didn't practice much self-care.
Yeah.
I was telling myself I was happy, when in fact I was not. But I thought to myself, you know what? Here's a great challenge to get you started, to get you going, get you moving. And we embraced the challenge, and I basically started training. And what I would do every day was I would walk 20 flights of stairs up and down in my condo to get used to, going up and down steps. And the Chinese are very, very smart. I'm not sure if you know how the Great Wall of China is constructed, but
I've never been. I've always wanted to go.
You must.
Interested to learn.
You must. It's a marvel of construction.
Right.
Because every step is not the same. Okay. So each step is designed at a different height, so that if an enemy attacks, they are unable to gain momentum, which is phenomenal.
Engineering.
Back whenever the Great Wall of China was
Purposeful,
constructed.
intentional engineering. Holy shit.
So you can imagine how challenging it is to run 42 kilometers
and
on
get
it.
any kind of momentum going.
Yeah, if you're a marathon runner.
Yeah.
I was doing 10K. I was doing 10K at 175, let's say 165 kilos. So I'd lost a bit of weight in between that time. It took me 4.5 hours to do 10K.
On the Great Wall of China?
On the Great Wall of China.
Oh my God.
But I completed it. And I got my medal. And as I completed it and as I got my medal, I celebrated it. And I thought, well, that's it. Okay, fantastic. Now so the weight's just going to fall off now. And then went back to what I was doing in the past and just put the weight back on. I guess Billy kind of recognised that because he used to see me every year. Until one point, he took me to one side and he was like, "All right, bro, I've got a challenge for you. You're going to complete an Ironman in 6 months. You've got 6 months. We're going to train you up. All right, you're going to basically get involved with some great coaches. We're going to track your progress. We're going to measure everything you do. And in 6 months, you're going to complete an Ironman." And I was just like, "You're fucking nuts, bro." I like it.
I'll have some of that.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Wow.
So as a result of that, I signed up for the program, and I embarked on the challenge. And for 6 months, I trained. Didn't train as hard as I should have been, really, but I trained. I got in the pool. I did my bike rides. I bought a bike. And I did my walk run. But it was 3 weeks before the actual event where we really knuckled down and we basically trained every day, hardcore. We ate really good diet. Everyone was at a camp on Koh Samui for that period of time.
Yeah.
That we all flew as a team to Vietnam, and as a team, everyone got ready together. Everyone was basically share, and it was that camaraderie.
Bit of warm-ups together. Nutrition, talk, and
Exactly. Sharing some experiences.
Yeah.
And it was that it was a sense of community. It was a sense of belonging. It was a group of people who were just thrown together. Nobody knew each other in the past. And it was from that moment that I started to grow. I started to develop a new identity. based on my love of that environment and the people there as well. So, long story short, after a very, very hot Vietnam Ironman, I completed my first race in 8 hours and 16 minutes.
Wow.
The cutoff time for Ironman, as you know, for a 70.3 is 8 hours and 30. So I limped in. I limped in just before the cutoff point.
Wow.
But I made it happen. That's and
amazing.
It was a combination of obviously training, of preparation, but what it comes down to is its skill set, its nutrition, and its mindset. Because there were points where I just wanted to give up.
Yeah.
There were points where I was like, you know what, just quit. Because it hurt. It just hurt. It was just hard. It was a 1.9 kilometer swim in the ocean. Beautiful ocean though, stunning. Yeah. You see all the way to the bottom, see the manta rays, bit of coral, lovely.
Beautiful.
Lovely water. And then a 90 kilometer flat bike.
In the heat as well. Vietnam is hot, right?
Vietnam is a beautiful country.
Yeah.
But the heat stinks.
Yeah. It takes it out of you, doesn't it?
Right? It's draining, it's debilitating, and it's soul destroying.
Yeah.
And
stifling.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get off the bike, and then congratulations, you finished 90k on the bike. Go for a 21k run. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Just what you need right now. legs are literally like completely shredded after like cycling at a high cadence for a long period of time. Your energy levels depleted, dehydrated, and I'm guessing you start at like 8 o'clock in the morning. So now you're at the peak of the heat. So now you've got like the midday heat.
Oh
soaring down.
Mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. You know. So that's and at one point I was running back towards the finishing line. I was about 5k out, and this tiny Vietnamese girl saw I was struggling and grabbed me by the hand and said, we'll cross the finishing line together. And I melted at that point. I was just because I knew I couldn't keep up with her. And my coach always said, run your own race. Run your race. Don't try and run somebody else's race. Don't try and keep up with somebody else, because the goal for this race is to complete.
Yeah.
After you complete, then you can compete.
Nice.
So whatever happens, run your own race. So I did. I kept up with her for a little bit, but it was that Hollywood movie moment where the hands just slink apart, and I was like, I'll just hold you back. Go on without me. And I saw her at the finish.
Cliffhanger moment.
Yeah, it was. I kept running. I kept going.
Yeah.
I was slower, and then I think at one point I was 2 kilometers out, and a guy came past on the bike, an Aussie guy, and he just looked over at me and was like, "You got 30 minutes left, mate. You better fucking move."
So sensitive, aren't they, the Aussies?
I love the Aussies. The Aussies are brilliant.
Yeah.
They're just absolutely stunning.
They call you on your shit, don't they?
Oh, mate,
I mean, it's so straightforward.
So honest. You can't, like I said before, you cannot fuck with the truth.
No, it's true.
And he just basically said, "You got 30 fucking minutes, mate. There's a cold beer waiting for you at the finishing line." I've never moved faster. That was everything I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Just to get over the finish line. And I did. And as I got over the finishing line, you get your medal, you celebrate with the team, and there's no finer feeling. I would never do an event by myself, you know, because I know people who've done events by themselves, and they just say it's lonely. It is. You know, it's just a bit, you know, no one's there to give you a pat on the back, a hug, to share a beer with, to talk about the hill that you had to climb.
Right.
You know,
right. What their strategy was for how they got such a good swim, or like how many times they get punched in the face at the start with their helicopter arms that come through.
Yeah, I got kicked in the face. Yeah, fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
So, off the back of that, it spurred me to do number 2, and that was Langkawi, Malaysia. So as a result of basically crossing the finish line in 8:16, I was determined to race faster, and I did. And Langkawi is an unforgiving course as well.
I heard that's one of the hottest courses. It's hilly as well. Right?
It's hilly as fuck. It's hot as fuck, and it's basically the second most challenging course in the world.
Jesus.
But we signed up for it because it was local and because we only do tropical events.
Yeah, and I like that. I just listening to what you're saying, that you talk so much about team and about community and how important that is, and even just now with your language, you said we signed up for it. So it wasn't like this doesn't seem like it's an I thing for you. It sounds to me that you've got a great team. You feel like you've got a great team behind your support, coaches, team, fellow athletes with you. How important is that?
It's everything, because if you want to be successful, it's like that adage, right? If you want to be successful quickly, go alone. But if you want to be successful, in a sustainable way for a long term, or to grow even bigger, go with a team. And that's where it is. It's where I learn to appreciate people more, because there's nothing more inspiring than seeing your friends win as well.
Oh yeah.
It's just like and the thing, this is a thing as well, is that there are some dark moments on a race, especially in endurance sports. You know this. You've been across the Atacama, right?
Yeah.
There are some dark times where your mind just goes into some fucked up places. And you're like, you know what? I can cut this out right now. I can just quit. But if you quit, you got 5 guys at the end of the course who are going to do nothing but rip the shit out of you for not completing.
Right.
So basically what you're doing is ensuring that you live up to the standards of your group.
Nice.
You live up to the standards of your team. You maintain the integrity and the quality of your community. Because that's what it's all about. It's like everyone brings value to the table.
Beautiful.
And that's what we did. So in Langkawi, we all raced faster, irrespective of the heat, irrespective of the undulation of the ride.
Yep.
And there is some serious gradient as well that goes on it. And I highly recommend everyone to get involved with that race, because it's really challenging. But this is the problem as well, is that when you succeed twice, that's when you become complacent. That's when you become arrogant as well. So off the back of completing Ironman Vietnam, off the back of completing Ironman Langkawi, 70.3 for all you purists out there. Fuckers.
Tin Man. I used to get this when I used to do half Ironman. Yeah, to say 70.3.
70.3. I know it's not a full. All right, fine. Yeah. I'm gearing up for one. Do my 140.6. No worries. We signed up for Nagoya, Japan, and Nagoya, Japan was amazing. Nagoya, Japan was probably the biggest breakthrough I've ever had in my life. So like I was saying to you, I was cocky, self-assured. It was interesting because what it did was it reminded me of the time where I fell off before. That level of I'm indestructible. I've done 2 of these events. I know exactly what to expect.
Right.
And with that in my mind, did I train? Did I fuck?
Yeah.
To the basic level, to the minimum.
Minimum.
The barest. the get by level,
Right.
you know. I turned up to the race fat, overweight, and bloated. All right, I've got pictures. I'll show you later. All right. I also turned up to the race as only one of two people without a wetsuit as well.
So not prepared.
For the swim. I was totally unprepared.
Yeah.
Totally
Unorganised.
half-assed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this will be fun. I'll go to Nagoya, few days there, bullet train, Tokyo, on the piss, la-di-da, get my medal, walk home, celebrate. Everyone thinks I'm a hero. Not so. The swim is freezing. And so basically everyone in the race is looking at me like,
In your
"Jeez."
speedos.
I'm in the budgie smugglers.
Budgie smugglers.
All right.
Everyone's in steamers.
Everyone is zipped up to the throat
Yeah.
and looking at me like I'm an absolute nutter. What's interesting though is I completed the swim. Didn't swim as fast because when I hit the water, my body reacted and it went into fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
So my heart rate went through the roof, and I recognised that, and I went, okay, just slow down.
I've had that situation before in races. Yeah, it's not an easy to recover from situation.
Oh, hard as fuck, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of other people had that too because there were quite a few people who were over the kayaks.
Right.
Being pulled into shore.
Struggling with
the
temperature.
Oh, dude, absolutely. But I got through the swim. I got through in an hour. I transitioned, and the thing about the transition was between the beach and the bike was about 1 kilometer.
On sand.
On sand and on concrete.
Yeah.
So that was challenging
Gets
too.
your heart rate cranking up as well.
Sky high.
Yeah.
But we moved into the bike, and the bike was the most enjoyable bike course I've ever been on. It was like a video game. It was basically 4 laps, 60 kilometers of this like industrial circuit. So it was kind of going through a town, and it was fast and it was dangerous as well, because there were points where bikes would cross over one another going around corners. And there were multiple crashes, and people were bloodied up as well. And at one point, I almost got T-boned as well by another cyclist.
Wow.
And so your heart's
So it's intense.
oh, it's intense,
Yeah.
and it's quick, and you're like, holy shit, I'm making up time on my bike. This feels great. Until that point where you go over the bridge and you get hit with the coastal headwind, and everything slows down. And then you realise, shit, it's going to take me 3.5. Where you thought you'd do the bike in 2:45, now you're looking at 3:20.
And I'm guessing every rotation on the pedals is just sucking more and more energy out, and things getting heavier and heavier as that headwind takes its toll.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. And at that point, I didn't know how to ride on watts as well and power, so I didn't know how to conserve power.
Yeah.
So basically, by the time I got to transition point 2, I was drained. But what I transitioned into was probably the most enjoyable run I've ever had. Because it was a single circuit, a single route.
Okay.
All right. No, there were no loops.
Yeah.
And it went from the countryside, so from a very picturesque, very leafy green, very open fields, kind of trail, kind of like a trail run in a way, into an urban environment.
Oh, nice.
So it was like you watched the Crystal Maze.
Yeah. I love. Old Richard.
Richard O'Brien. Yeah. It was like transitioning through zones.
That's cool.
It was lovely.
I love routes like that. It's just like straight out and back, start and finish in a different area.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get to see so much.
You get to see, and it was picturesque. It was cool. It was lovely.
Yeah.
And it was challenging as well. And I was conscious of getting across the finishing line. And even in that state of being, fat, bloated, overweight, undertrained, and underprepared.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to get across the finish line. I want to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So I start running towards the finishing line. I start getting closer and closer and closer. And as I get to the 2 kilometers out from the finish, I noticed these guys, these officials, on clipboards, and they're just like, they're looking at me, looking at my number, looking at the clipboard, looking at me, looking at my number, looking at the clipboard, looking at me, looking at my number, looking at the clipboard. And I'm like, I've got time, right? I've got time, right? Yeah, I've got time. And then one of the Japanese guys just looks at me and goes, "Just run!" And I pelt it, absolutely destroy it. Literally, I'm sprinting. The last kilometer, the last 500 yards, as I get to the red carpet, I'm running past people on the red carpet to get across the finishing line. And as I get across the finishing line, they hand me my medal. And I think, fuck, yes, I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've completed the race. I haven't missed the cutoff time.
Yeah. Awesome.
I've done it all. And I was like, shit, wow. That's amazing, you know?
Like a relief, kind of?
Relief in a way, but also in a way it was like that feeling of being indestructible came back to me again. So 4 days later, I'm just got back from Tokyo. We had a few days on the razzle dazzle.
Yeah.
Which was fantastic. I love Tokyo. I do. It's so much fun.
As you do, yeah.
I get an email, and it's an email from Ironman, and it says very plainly, "Dear Mr. Cramond, dear David Cramond, in regards to your finishing Ironman 70.3, Nagoya, Japan, 2018. We would like to congratulate you on crossing the finishing line and invite you to hold the medal. As you know, the time for Ironman Nagoya, the official time, the official cutoff time, is 8 hours. Your recognized finishing time is 8 hours and 56 seconds.
What?
Your race result will be officially recorded as DNF. Did not finish. As we said, congratulations on crossing the finishing line. We invite you to keep holding the medal. We look forward to seeing you at the next race. Ciao, ciao. Sayonara. Iron Man.
Wow.
Boom.
Ouch.
Ouch. At that point, I had 2 choices. I could contest their decision, or I could admit that I was fat, overweight, underprepared, and not of the Iron Man standard. And that's what I did. That was the moment where it became my passion. It became my standard that I would never, ever receive a letter like that again. That I would maintain the Iron Man standard. That I would cross the finishing line. That I would cross every transition point before cut-off time, with time to spare. That was the moment I decided that good enough is no longer good enough.
Yeah.
That I had to step up.
Wow.
That I had to make the change. And as a result of that, my life changed completely. In fact, that was the same period of time where we met You know, no, after that. We met after that.
Yeah.
Well, we met previously to that, but then we met, and I think you talked to me about the Masterthon program.
That's right. Yeah.
And I came into that program specifically from that event, going, right, here's the kickoff point.
That you need to.
Boom. Yeah. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this now. Bang.
What an incredible gift you were given with that race, in a way. Like as painful as that race was, and to go there under the adversity of not having your wetsuit, in that freezing cold water, coming out, going on a hard bike course, being unprepared, maybe being complacent, not doing the words, being lazy, not doing the training, missing out by 56 seconds.
The difference that makes the difference.
The difference that makes the difference. And in a way, I mean, and a lot of people, I read a lot of people in that situation. I think about myself in that situation. I may have been, a lot of people would have been dejected with that ladder. People would have just been, it's not worth it anymore.
People were like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's only 56 seconds.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, come on, what's the problem?
Yeah.
It's not even a minute. Oh, just give me the fucking result.
Right.
No, man.
Like they owed it.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
They paid for the...
I paid $600 for this, plus flights, plus accommodation.
Yeah. And the fact that you can take responsibility for that and also continue to want to do these races, and you've seen that. It seems to me that you've seen that as a lesson that was given to you, that was a gift, a blessing in a way.
It was a blessing, because it basically reinforces the idea that you can't get away with mediocrity. You can't fuck with the truth.
And nor should we aim for mediocrity.
Exactly. If you want to step up and perform at a higher level, you can't come with a mediocre cup. You can't come with a mediocre mindset. You can't come with mediocre skills.
Right.
You owe it to yourself to get it done.
Be more than that.
You know, it was the fact that it came from this faceless entity. It came from the M dot. The M is like
the tattoo.
The tattoo, man.
The Iron Man tattoo.
I want the tattoo. You know, I'm gonna get my M dot.
Yeah.
But the message comes from M dot that, sorry, you don't make the grade. You can't be part of the club. Try again. But you do get to try again. Oh, and it's a very, very hard pill to swallow.
Bitter
oh,
pill,
man. Yeah. Does the ego get hit or what?
Right.
And it took me a while to tell my teammates about it as well.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, fuck, if they find out, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
But then they were like, okay, what are you going to do next?
So in a way, we can kind of say that success, we have to be careful of success, because success breeds complacency if we're not careful. So what is the lesson here? What is it we need to do so that we don't fall into the trap of just taking our success for granted, like so many people do? What's the lesson that we need to learn here?
56 seconds, man. The lesson is 56 seconds. The difference between the winner and the loser in a horse race can be 0.2 of a second.
Right.
No one cares about the also rans. You're either winning it, or you're basically taking the second place.
Yeah.
The difference that makes the difference is you deciding that you're going to basically do whatever it takes to become the better version of yourself. you might not be winning everything as a result of doing it the night after, but transformation takes time. Transformation is patience. Transformation is working on your craft, honing it, chiseling it out, okay, owning it, all right. I work out. You work out. Regularly, like 5 days a week, 6 days a week. I do the same thing myself. I follow strict training plans. I eat, strict diet now. I'm very disciplined in what I do because I know what I want. I want my. I'm very happy when I'm with my friends in a beautiful environment, traveling to a beautiful environment to compete in a sport that I love. So I want to do that well. I don't want to be. I want to be that person. As I cross the finishing line, I don't want to be the guy anymore that everyone goes, "Wow, look at that big guy doing it. Isn't he great?" I want to be the guy that crosses the finishing line in 5 hours because I'm fucking good at what I do.
Yeah.
That's what it's become for me now. Nice. So it's an evolution of identity.
The next step.
It's the next step, and it's basically the difference that makes the difference for everyone is as you achieve your goal, set a new goal.
Love it.
As you achieve that goal, set a new goal. Because if you don't, you're going to go back to the position you were in before. The key element is even if you don't succeed, reset, re-engineer, refocus, get moving. If you can do that, you're going to have a fucking outstanding time. Awesome,
man. You heard it right here. Reset, re-engineer, and refocus after every single goal that you achieve or goal that you're heading towards.
That's it.
I love it, man.
Yeah. Outstanding.
Awesome. Dave, this has been an outstanding podcast.
I've loved it, man. This has been great. Thank you.
It's been honestly, it's been very refreshing. We hope you guys. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'll shake your hand here.
Thanks, sir.
Mate. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope all the listeners have got some great information out there from this podcast. Lots and lots of lessons to learn. And tell us a little bit about what are you doing next? What's next for you? What are you excited about? What's coming up in the next? What are you in now? May, June. What's coming up for you?
May, June.
What are you doing? How can people find you? It's a little bit of an opportunity to promote yourself.
Sure. Well, I've got a strip show coming soon. I'm kidding there. Launching new programs. So basically, we have the Iron Mindsets, which is basically a program designed to help you develop a core mindset around yourself. First of all, how to get the best results for yourself.
Yeah.
But going into the deeper aspects of how to get better results in your sales, how to enhance your relationships as well, and really how to get the most out of life. Really, I have a very exciting financial program which is about to launch in the next couple of months. It's a very, very exciting, what can I say? It's a very exciting fund-based program. So basically what we're doing is we are pioneering disruptive STOs across Asia for institutional and accredited investors. So we're utilizing a lot of blockchain technology. So we're combining the fundamental aspects of economics with new wave blockchain technology and combining those together as well.
Wow.
So that's something that's coming up. And a lot of travel going on as well. So I'm competing in Ironman Cebu, 70.3 in August.
Yeah.
And then I'll be in Los Cabos, Mexico in November doing a 70.3 there as well at the end of the year. So the schedule's pretty set. So heading over to Hong Kong in a few weeks' time as well to be a speaker at a finance and STO event.
Wow, awesome.
And what else are we doing? Over to Bali, probably over to Macau, and I'll be hanging out at the lab as well.
Holy shit, man! It sounds like an incredible year for you. It's really, really exciting year as well. That's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. David, thanks again so much for coming on to the show. It's been an absolute pleasure, massive eye-opener, and loads of lessons to be learned. Thank you so much. Any last words for the viewers for today's podcast?
Oh man, just stay happy. I'll have a glass of wine as well.
Have a glass of wine. Awesome.
Thank you, bro. This has been awesome, man.
Thanks, man. Had a great time. Cheers, buddy. Holy shit, what an incredible 2 hours worth of listening that was, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode as much as myself and Dave did, and you got tons out of it. If you want to learn more about Iron Mindsets with Dave Cramond, you can catch him on his Instagram account at Dave Cramond. That's at DAVE Cramond, CRAMOND on Instagram, and learn more about Iron Mindsets. Again, thanks everyone for joining on the episode. We're going to be bringing you more of these fantastic interviews as well as other self-help content. And for now, it's with passion, with health, it's rich, and I'll catch you on the next show. Appreciate you guys. Take care.